Good afternoon and welcome to a sunny driveway on a glorious Thursday afternoon. I am playing catch up for films watched but not reviewed at the time, and I need to not let that happen again because I had a pile up of 3 and I nearly didn't bother reviewing them, and then thought, no, this silly little channel does mean something to you, you should put the effort in. So here I am to do my third and final review of this little catch-up session. The film I'm going to talk about, although I'll probably end up talking about a different film, is a film called Marching Powder that I went to see last week, or the week before, and it stars one Mr. Danny Dyer. It is written and directed by Nick Love, and if that name rings a bell, it's because Nick Love wrote and directed The Football Factory, which was the film that introduced us all to the young Daniel Dyer back in the day. Sounds weird when you call him Daniel, doesn't it? And I wanted to like this. I really did, because I like Danny Dyer a lot. He's had a lot of stick, and he's very is he a one-trick pony? He's not actually, because he did a bloody Harold Pinter play not that long ago. I do think he's talented, but he obviously has a certain type of character that he plays. So I remember going to watch The Football Factory. I do love my football team, which is Newcastle United, Carabao Cup winners, don't you know? But my interest in football as a whole is fairly limited, and I certainly have no interest in the culture around football, and more specifically football hooliganism. So why did I go and watch The Football Factory, however long ago it was? Genuinely, I think it was definitely when I was still an Odeon employee. It might even have been when I was at my first Odeon cinema in Stoke-on-Trent, so I might even still have been at uni, I'm not sure. But I was intrigued, and it was free, and I went to watch it. And actually, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. It did terrify me, don't get me wrong, and the violence was absolutely staggering because it's not a world I inhabit. But I remember enjoying that. I never saw The Business, which was the follow-up Nick Love made with Danny Dyer. I always meant to, and I just never got round to it. But they are back together many, many years after, making their first film together, for a film called Marching Powder. And this is basically what would happen if Danny's character from The Football Factory grew up and got married. He is down on his luck. He's just been in trouble with the old Bill. Again, I'm not going to start using Cockney phrases, I'll sound really silly. But he's been in trouble with the police. He's still going to football matches and scrapping. He's still using cocaine. He's still drinking too much, and he's still behaving like he's 25. Except now he's married to a lovely woman called Danny, and they are parents to a son of about 8, I'd say. They live in a house that belongs to her dad. Her dad is not keen on... Was his name Jack? Yeah, Danny Dyer's character is called Jack. Not keen on Jack as a son-in-law. Doesn't really feel like Jack is the best fit for his daughter, and he wants Jack to sort himself out. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not because the father-in-law is an upstanding citizen. He's dodgy geezer, but he just wants him to sort of get his act together, or he said, I'm going to cut you off. So this is the story of Jack trying to go straight and trying to be a good husband and father, but also really struggling to let go of that childish, younger part of himself that does just want to go out, snort a load of coke, drink a load of booze, and have a big old scrap. And I rooted for him to a certain extent, but then he would keep making the same mistakes to the point where I was just like head in hands. I think it's perfectly fine. Obviously, Nick Love has his shtick. He has these things that he does as a filmmaker, and that's perfectly fine. And Danny Dyer has these things that he does as an actor. And Danny Dyer swaggering down the street, spewing out expletives, will never not be funny to me. I find it oddly endearing, no matter how bad the swearing is. And it does break the fourth wall. So he does talk to the audience a couple of times, so you feel like you're in on it. His wife, his long-suffering wife, didn't know the actress, I've forgotten to look up her name. She was very good as his long-suffering wife. She also obviously wanted him to sort himself out, but at the same time, she's kind of in a situation of, but I know what I married. So there's that element to it. And then there's the young lad who kind of wants to look up to his dad, but can also say that his dad is a bit of an idiot. He gets given a job as a barista, and then he gets fed up of hipsters being hipsters, and that ends up in a scrap, and it's just kind of a bit tired, I guess. But I think the reason I struggled to enjoy it was knowing that these men exist. Like, there are men, they're sat there in a nightclub at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you think you've all got wives, some of you have got jobs and children and responsibilities, and yet you're still sat here doing coke and having fights and glassing people, and you just want to tell them all to grow up. But, you know, it's their culture, it's what they do. It's, you know, football hooliganism goes back decades, if not further. Not quite centuries, maybe it does, I don't know. Were they scrapping back in like 1832 at the football? But yeah, it's not a world that has a huge amount of interest for me. But, you know, it's watchable enough and forgettable, and that's all fine. What I wanted to say before I sign off, because I've talked about Marching Powder, watch it, don't, it won't change your life. It's alright. It's 90 minutes long, so it's mercifully short. I wanted to mention a Danny Dyer film that I saw back in about, I want to say 2006, 2007. It could be a bit around the mid-noughties. And I don't feel that it gets enough love, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. It is a film called Severance, not to be confused with the very successful Apple Plus show of the same, Apple TV show of the same name. Severance is about a group from an office who go on a team building holiday to somewhere in Eastern Europe, get caught up with gangsters, and it goes horribly wrong. Danny Dyer's in it, Tim McInnery's in it, Toby Stevens, a few other people I can't remember. I had very low expectations going into Severance, and it made me laugh so much. Again, it's got quite a lot of nasty injury detail in, and it's violent in its own way, but by God, it's funny. And I don't come across a lot of people who even know what it is. So if you're going to watch Marching Powder and you're sitting in front of a streaming service, have a look on said streaming service and see if Severance, again, not the Apple TV show, is on there, and give that a watch instead, because it was an absolute romp. I need to watch it again. It's young Danny Dyer. It's this mismatched bunch of people trying to do like team building office, let's build a raft, let's do this, and it just goes absolutely sideways in the most spectacular way. It's got some real unexpected moments, and it's got some really big laughs, and yeah, it was an absolute hoot. So that's a far better use of your time than Marching Powder, in my humble opinion. That's it. I mean, I'll never not watch Danny Dyer, because, you know, he's an absolute diamond geezer, isn't he? Okay, that's it. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share it so your friends can find it. I really enjoy doing this, even if about 3 people watch it. But thanks for watching if you have. Katie out.